I was completely mute. This is why I really needed someone to check me before I started this. That's okay. I didn't have a very good start in the first place, so maybe if this is like a recording, like I get the daily out of this, I'm just gonna cut the beginning. It wasn't a very good beginning anyway. It's a beautiful day in the city. Beautiful. Hello, everybody. How are we today? We are doing server-side style JavaScript, and we're doing some of the Advent of Code puzzles from 2015 for however long I want to. We may or may not get done with these puzzles in a timely manner. Probably not, but I'm going to try. We're going to try it in JavaScript, not just JavaScript, server-side JavaScript. So I've got a server. It is not currently running because the idea here is I'm not just going to be running these things off a server, I'm going to be doing test-driven development off of the server side as well. So I'm using supertest, and that is basically just to ensure that, well, basically Advent of Code is styled around dynamic programming, right? The idea that you are taking a complex problem and you are breaking it up into sub-problems and you're solving each of those problems and then putting it all together for a larger solution, right? And test-driven development really helps, it complements that idea pretty well. So what I'm going to do, and let me also just point out that I had mentioned this when I was muted. This is a purely cosmetic sort of, like, it's functional. It does work, and if I were to put in an input in here and run it, like if the server was actually running, which it isn't, right? Let's run it real quick. There we go. So I have an input. I wonder if it actually, oh, well, it might. Yeah, it gets the input, right? So it does read it. It doesn't reflect it back into the result box, which might be an oversight on my part. I don't think so, though. It's supposed to. Set attribute to the data, so it should be doing that. Oh, you know what? Data might be, can I do data.solution input? Maybe that's what I forgot. Just like that. Let's see what happens. Nope, that doesn't work either. What does it show me for solution input? This is not what I had planned on doing, but is it reloading? Is it doing a watch? It should be watching in up. Oh no, it wouldn't do that. HTML is the one. Okay, let's do that. No, still doesn't like it. Does not like it. I wonder why. I wonder why it's not doing that. I'm setting the attribute to the data, and it gets part 2. Or it gets, well, wait a minute. It's doing part 2 because I think that's the default if I don't set a part into query, which this isn't doing. I'll have to do that manually, like through the code, instead of having a switch that would do it, because I completely forgot to do that part. That's okay. We'll just do part equals, and I'll just say 1 for now, and then I'll change it if we want to get all. The testing is mostly probably going to be done through Postman, to be honest, we're going to be doing sort of this method where we're going to have we're going to be posting through this apparatus here, and we're going to be either doing that or we're going to be doing just using supertest. Supertest is cool because like it does, I have a request as supertest, so it requests the application that I'm grabbing from the config, right? So it basically spins up a version of the server that is purely for test development and runs whatever it needs and then just cuts it. So the thing is, you can't run the server and do these tests at the same time. You have to bring the server down to do these tests, because otherwise it'll think that it has two different instances at the same time, which is illegal apparently. So, I mean, that makes sense, right? You don't want to be able to duplicate your server. That's probably, that seems smart. So anyway, what do we want to do? So I don't have any compunction to mess around with this right now. I don't feel like it. I want to just get to the good stuff. Besides, I'm only doing this for like an hour. So oh yeah, this is a custom sort of, I have a very themed out build for this Manjaro distro. I riced it up, so it's got like some neat theming for the icons and stuff. Like it's a little extra, I admit, but again, you know, let's assume that a little showmanship. That's my point, you know? Like, if you want people to watch something, sweeten the deal, you know? Make it look slick. So, anyway, let's actually get into this. Let's do some actual, like, let's do the actual puzzle, right? Now, the puzzle, it's already there, but whatever. The puzzle is this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, let me do something here real quick. I'm going to actually log in through GitHub, but I need to, ever since I took my EJPT training, I'm super paranoid about everything. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut like, I don't even want anyone hearing the number of keystrokes I'm typing for anything. So what I'm going to do, I'm back. Sorry about that. It's easy to get paranoid when you know enough about cybersecurity to know that it's held together with staples and glue. Anyway, so I did this one already, so we already have the solution, right? We'll do part one here. I'm going to slap it in. I'm going to do a little comment at the top that has the parameters for the puzzle, right? So it even has, a lot of these are, I like how it did the, very responsible, and I should probably actually comment using those, what are they even called? I don't do that often enough. Like, I don't comment my JavaScript code using like my functions and my classes and methods and stuff using because that's really useful. You can put those things into like your readmes on GitHub, and it'll format them as Markdown specifically, and you basically like you can create your documentation as you go using that method, which is really cool. It's just something I need to be in a better habit of doing. Not something I'm going to do here though, because like it's not that deep. It's having a code, So, okay. Let's format this a little bit so it's easier to read. So we got a little easy puzzle here. Beep. Okay. Santa was hoping for a white Christmas, but his weather machine's snow function is powered by stars, and it's fresh out. To save Christmas, he needs you to collect 50 stars by December 25th. Collect stars by helping Santa solve puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day in the advent calendar. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Okay. So, Santa's trying to deliver presents in a large apartment building, but he can't find the right floor. The directions he got are a little confusing. He starts on the ground floor, and then he follows the instructions one character at a time. An opening parenthesis means he should go up 1 floor, and a closing parenthesis means he should go down 1 floor. The apartment building is very tall, and the basement is very deep. He will never find the top or bottom floors. So, it gives us things that we can actually test against, which is really useful for, especially for test-driven development, right? I should be able to write a test that says that if I put in this or this, that the result should be 0. I put in this, I should get 3. I put in this, I should get 3, right? So like each of these is potentially its own test. Let's try that, right? We'll just go in here. So, oh, not in there, actually in here. Stay in here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to change this from message to solution result. And so one thing that I think I need to do, my query, when it's put in, I actually wanted to wait until now to do this, to confirm this. But if I was to send in like a query, oops. Let's do another test, right? So it should, the idea here, right, according to what this says, this should return a 0, right? So let's see if I do right, to respond to 0. So a feature Jared here. I'm actually doing this very wrong. First of all, using asserts inside supertest isn't actually the way that's supposed to work. Now it does work because just's it function is expected to get a boolean, and that's what the assert is returning, but I'm really supposed to be chaining callbacks together to set up the server request and then handle the response. This has the added benefit of just showing me the value that's received and comparing it to the value that's expected. It takes a few days for me to realize this and fix it. Also, I'm writing the test descriptions wrong. They should be in the form of an expectation that begins with the word it. I'll fix this later too. Alright, here's Jared out. Our input, and this should be actually on day 1, right? So we're going to do solution input. What we might have to do though, because these are parentheses, might have to URL encode it, right? No, wrong. You don't. It goes in just fine. Like, we can do a URL encode. Like, run it through. I think there is that URL. I did it before. There it is, URL format. Although, the thing with the parentheses, this is more an issue of they need to be encoded properly for the to be legal as input through a query, because if it doesn't, it's going to read those parentheses incorrectly, right? There's a good chance of that. Maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. Maybe let's just try it, right? See what it does. If it works just fine, then I'm not going to worry about it for now. Although there is that gnawing, scratching feeling in the back of my brain that says that I should really do that as a matter of best practice, but let's worry about it later. What do you say? Okay. So in here we should, the idea behind test-driven development is that we're going to, well, first of all, let's try to do, we should get a response that is solution result, and the result is whatever that is, right? So we'll let solution result, right? It's just going to be currently undefined, so it's going to respond as like right, and I'm probably, it's always going to be an integer. The thing, you know, like generally, I think every input that we do in additive code is probably a number. I can't think of any exceptions. Let's put it in as just probably the number itself, right? And then we'll set this to something that I know it shouldn't be, which is 1 for now. The idea is we want to set it up to fail, to confirm that it's not going to pass, right? And then we basically rework the actual code until just the bare minimum required to get it to pass. And then we build on top of that. So I'm also still learning this myself, by the way. I'm not an authority on this. There are plenty of folks that I could probably recommend that you should watch for or read about, or who have works that you can read that, you know, would probably be a more credible source than myself. But if you enjoy watching someone struggle with something because it makes you feel like this is a real thing, for me, I sometimes like watching people learn something, because the learning process it's a struggle, right? Like, you really ride that struggle bus for quite a while, and it eventually does take you to good places, but it's a bumpy ride, and sometimes you really want to get off. The thing is, like, the destination is always more than worth it. So sometimes watching other people struggle with something does help to solidify that. Like, you feel better about your own challenges because, of course, other people are being challenged. It's just, like, probably more than you thought, right? Like, when someone does something, like they present something to you and they're well versed in it, they make it look easy, they make it look like they never struggled with it, but of course they did, right? So to that point, right, like, watching me struggle, I hope, will be not just entertaining because you get to feel smug, but also maybe you get to feel like you're not alone in thinking that this is as difficult as it actually is, because it is. So, all that said, enough lecturing, right? Let's do, right, so I've got a response going, and I want to assert that, I've just been using the asserts, that body dot solution result. I know it's supposed to be equal to 0, right? Should be equal to 0. And I'm hoping that we need to cut that because, again, like I said, we can't run the test and run the server at the same time. Now we should see a failure. And we do. Ooh, this isn't good. Has a timeout. I wonder why. To the dot post, and it's still not exiting. I wonder if that has something to do with the query. If I remove that, what happens? Does it like it? Does it not like it? It's fine with it. Okay. So the query with the, I wonder if that's more to do with the way I have this set up. You know, I don't have a response for when it's part 2. That's probably what it is. Okay. I forgot. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do let solution result equal, I don't know. It could be, it doesn't actually matter for this because, like, I also forgot to put in the right, so it should be part 1. Hopefully that fixes it. At least it won't, like, stay open. Yeah, okay, and we've got a failing test because it doesn't, it should be 0 and it's giving back, it should be a 1 that it's giving back, right? So how much time do I have? Okay, I got a good, like, 20-ish minutes. So I'm going to actually do this. I'm actually gonna, it needs to start at 0, right? Like, well, let floor equal 0, right? This is such a simple puzzle that the thing is, if I get it working for one of them, it should work for all of them, like in perpetuity, right? Because, like, there's only one thing I needed to do, which is to just take in the input, cut it up, run through it, right? And, like, I could just do this in a for loop, right? I can map it as well, but I could do functional, I could do iterative. For the sake of expediency, let's just run it through a for loop. I'm going to probably just say I'll just say solution input array equal solution input dot, probably just split it, right? Like, I could probably just do that, I think. It's been a second since I've done JavaScript like this. I think this would be fine. And it gives me yeah, right? So it gives me each one. Yeah, good. And then all I have to do after that is just run through, I can map it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel So we'll just do for let I equal 0, this solution input array right, and we'll just if solution input array at I is this, right, we'll do floor plus plus, and if it is the other direction, it's floor minus minus. I'm pretty sure, right? Like, or am I wrong? Nope, I'm right. Up one floor if it's left, closing is minus, right? And then it should do nothing if it's not either of those things, right? And then just solution result equals floor after that, right? And then we should hopefully get a 0 out of this. So we run back to the test. We're going to say if this passes, it didn't. What's up? Expected. It does not get 0. I wonder if it's because it's I wonder if I did something really stupid, because that's usually what happens. Let me see what the floor is here. Okay, run it back up. It says the floor is at 0, so solution result should be set to 0. Okay, got a spammer in the chat. I'll wait with you. Okay, so it is 0. Is solution result being set? It should be. Oh wait. No. Oops. So what is body.solution result giving me? Is it 0 inside of the test? Oh. Am I? Oh, that's interesting. Dot solution result. That doesn't feel good. Oh, it's because, okay. It's returning an object. So it's an object inside an object because, like, originally that was a string. I just forgot to take the curly braces off of it. So I was originally doing a, what do they call those? Like a template string, right? Where you use the little backticks and you put the $sign curly boys around it. And I just forgot to take those off. So now I can, this should give me 0 now. Oops, there we go. Okay, cool. It passes. We should be happy, right? Like, so now, we can do every other test, right? You might think to yourself, rightfully, that that would be a waste of time, but look, passing tests gives me this dopamine rush. I need it, so just let me have this. Okay, so So if you were to put in the actual input from day one, that, well, from the day, right, like this. Now this might be troublesome. We wouldn't use the, I wouldn't use the testing for this. Like what I would probably do is throw this into, if this was actually working, right? Which we could probably, oh wait, the server's not running. So we'll run the server, right? So let's actually run the server and see what this does. So it gives us the 280. 280 that we already know is the answer, right? Because it's in the solution that I've already done from back over here, 280. Donezo, right? Awesome. So this is very gratifying because when I was setting this up, I wasn't sure how this would go on the first pass. But it looks like it's doing just fine. Oh, I even have the puzzle answer. Cool. And there's a part 2. Hopefully I can do part 2 in a timely manner. I can try. If I don't get through it, it's okay. But I only have like less than 10 minutes because I had to go to work. I'll be back home around, I don't even know, probably 7:30 or 8 or something like that. I might do another couple hours depending on various factors, my mood being chief among them. So let's see. So we'll cut that, go back to the test, and let's see. Well, here there is going to be a part 2 to this. So it says, given the same instructions, find the position of the first character that causes him to enter the basement. The first character in the instructions has position 1, the second character has position 2, and so on. For example, so right parenthesis causes him to enter the basement at character position 1, and those left, right cause him to enter the basement at character position 5. But it's the position of the character that causes Santa to first enter the basement. So we have to, it seems like we keep just keep an index of, like, I think it should just be one extra bit, like an extra variable, I assume. It just increments starting from, that's position 1, so we just have it start at 1, and then as soon as we detect a negative value, we just cut it, and then we just take that value, right? So we have a couple of tests that we could run here, right? So we know that and really it would be a lot smarter to have it describe in here that is really just like part 1 tests, and that way I don't have to do the I don't have to mention it inside of the tests themselves, which was actually kind of stupid. I should have thought of that. Just do that. Okay, that goes to that. Expecting a comma y. Is it expecting a comma? Wait, where does this go to? Oh. Well, no, that should be covering everything. this is more like I'll just say basic tasks, right? 'Cause it's really just, those are for if something goes catastrophically wrong. Okay, I think that's all I need to do. Yeah, this should be fine. And then now I can have it described that as the part 2 tests. I should really, these should be backwards, kind of. Because it needs to mesh with the statement, like what, it should, whatever it should do, right? So I probably should reword all of these, because there's the itchy part of my brain that says best practices, Jared. You got to do your best practices. There were so many. And speaking of the learning process, probably could have come up with some macro or something. I just don't feel like it. Okay, that should be everything. Do this. So we know that you respond with 1 given a solution input of this on day 2. This is going to be part 2. Input is going to be that, right? So asserting that it should be 1. So we go back here, doing our part 2. Don't need that anymore. So essentially we have more or less this. Also, is the server still running? Good. Okay, so it fails predictably, as it should. So we want this to, I'm going to say equal 1. So this should still do what it does. At the end, the floor index is going to increment in the very big, so, but directly before that, let's have it run another check that if the floor index is less than 0, that we are going to simply break the loop, right? So that should break it before it increments. So this should give me 1 from the floor index. So instead of the floor, we return the floor index, right? And we are going to do solution. Oops. Oh, I put this inside the test. I'm so goofy. Derp, derp. It's okay. Put it in here. No major harm done. Oh. And then this will be body.solution result. Oh, I should, no. It should be equal to 1. Right? Yeah. Okay. So we've got, let's try it. Let's see what happens with it. Fails. Why? What did we get instead? Let's see what happened with it. Body.solution result. I wonder if it's something kind of dumb that I did. Oh, I get 2. I probably have the it's interesting. I wonder why it's 2. Are we getting 2? Shouldn't be 2, right? Because the floor should decrement, and it should be -1, and should break before it increments again, right? I assume. Because my assumptions are garbage. So we've got, yeah, it's giving me a 2. Here. Give me a 2. I wonder if the break does the break not, I wonder if does break here, or does it do one final pass through and then break? I don't actually remember. I thought it broke, like it just cuts at that point, but maybe it doesn't. Let's run this up here, actually. Should still be 2, yeah, still 2. And this should also be 2. Obviously, one solution is to just floor index at 0 because we are assuming which does work. I hope the audience sees the difficulty that I'm having right now. And like what my thought process is, because like if it was this, we would go up one, but if it's this, we go down one. Oh, because I'm goofing. And then this should no longer work. It's because I'm goofing. Always goofing. So this can be brought back to 1. Okay. Y'all probably screaming at the screen. Okay. Great. So that works as it should. And then we can go back here, and then we should can duplicate the test. Respond with a, what was it? Can respond with this. Should give the 5. And it does. Cool. So then when we were to slam this into here, right? Like, again, I need to fix it. And I'm going to have to go into this and switch this manually to part 2, because I need to work in a switch later that will do that for me. If I do that, oh, I need to turn the server on. (1797) and 1797 was the correct answer. Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm actually a little bit over on time, so I'm going to cut it here, but day 1 is done, right, as far as I'm concerned. And that is a neat, I think this is a pretty neat way of doing this. It's a little unorthodox, but that's why I like it. And hopefully we're seeing the advantages of test-driven development, because I am. I goofed a little bit. I do goof a lot, but that's okay. That's okay. Show me a programmer who does not goof. I will show you a liar. All right. Okay, so I'm done for now. I will catch you all either later today or maybe tomorrow. That's the plan. All right. I will catch you later, everybody.